Hey everyone at UB, welcome to another video. In this video, I'll be going over my most recent trade from the Haven. It is a dot short position. Originally, I put this chart in my chart section, and I said that I would be eyeing it for a long over the weekend. Obviously, that didn't happen, but I'll briefly talk about what I was waiting for my long position. Also, this entire trade setup I'll explain as well, and that should be it. So, like I said, I did have this on my radar for a potential long position, but what I was waiting for really was just a break above this area right here, this 15.6 area. That to me was obvious resistance, and to reclaim that level, I probably would have taken along from there, stop somewhere below the diagonal, and take profit at the channel high. Right? All I'm doing for dot in general is playing with this diagonal. So above the diagonal, I look for longs. Below the diagonal, I look for shorts. Okay. So I had my long argument. I never got my trigger because, as you can see, we never broke above that area. So as we begin to break down here, and actually first let me talk about this channel. I'm on the 12-hour here. So typically what I do for my diagonals and stuff like that, I see what time frame fits best for the support or resistance. So I'm not really trying to fit my bias or anything like that, but the higher the time frame, the stronger support and or resistance will be. So that's why for this situation, I'm using the 12-hour and adjusting it to fit the 12-hour time frame. When if we were to break it down to the 4-hour, sure, it's still valid, right? Obviously still valid, but you can see I could totally adjust this bottom diagonal to include these bodies down here as well as all this down here. So with diagonals specifically, there's always going to be a few ways to draw them. But stick with the higher time frame and try and make everything work on the higher time frame. That will have the strongest argument for you. So that's why I started this channel on the 12-hour. Okay, clear channel. So what I started to see on the 12-hour, or maybe it was the 4-hour, either way, 12 or 4-hour, is we start to break down from the channel, right? The diagonal support. So because we're breaking down, now immediately I'm looking for a short position. Okay, so there. We break the diagonal, and now we are at a very key support and resistance flip within our channel, right? So we could see that if we extend this line all the way to the left, we could just see how important this horizontal is, right? With chopping around all in this area here, an over-under pattern, right, to go to the channel high, and then just chopping around this level before finally breaking down. Okay, so clearly a very important horizontal. So immediately what I was looking to do is short a retest of this 15 to 15.2 level, which is what my entry is on this trade from the Haven. Okay, so that's my entry between 15 to 15.2, which I think I just said, but if I didn't, that is my entry. So yeah, so we close below this support and resistance flip, which was really key, in my opinion, to break below there for our bearish argument. Because sure, we could break below the diagonal, but immediate concern of mine is that this could just be a deviation below the diagonal before reclaiming the diagonal and going back to the channel high. So we really have to be careful with that when we are trading diagonals, because price very often loves to deviate above or below. You could see here as well. So price really loves to do that. So when you're trading based on a diagonal, you really need to be strict with your exit plan. So for this one in particular, my stop was above 16.2, but I was going to manually close, which I said in my notes for the trade. I was going to manually close on a reclaim with the diagonal. Okay. So I already accounted for that. I already planned for that. My trade is filled at this point. So the next key area that I was looking for a breakdown from was this 14.7 level. Again, same idea as a level above. Just pretty important, right? We spiked into it a couple times, got bought up quickly. So for us to break down from that level is pretty big for the bearish argument. And my first take profit, if you guys are new in the Haven or haven't seen my videos in a while, maybe you forgot, but typically when I'm playing these diagonal plays, and I think this is a really good rule of thumb. So let's say we are trading based on a series of higher lows. Okay, so we have price, series of higher lows, grinding up, and we're looking to short. Okay, so what we do now is the series of higher lows is getting heavy. We break below the diagonal, retest it as resistance. Now here's our trigger on the retest. Okay, we're going to manually close on a reclaim above that diagonal. All right, everything is normal. We're short now. So my first take profit always when I'm playing diagonals is the origin of the series of higher lows or lower highs if it's a long position. Okay, because again, I'm a trader based on liquidity, so I'm always looking for the areas with the most amount of liquidity that's easiest for price to get to. Okay, so because we create a series of higher lows, we're going to have stop losses all below the lows. Okay, so the idea here is that if we really do gain momentum, it should be no problem to clean up all these stop losses and go fairly quickly down to the origin of the higher lows or lower highs. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because that's super important and something I really want to drive home during this video, that when you're trading based on diagonals, I strongly recommend that you look to take profit at the origin of this series of higher lows. Okay, so in this example in particular, if I'm going with that rule, I'm going to be taking profit here on a sweep of the lows here. Okay, and that's nice and confluent because we would have tapped all of the, well, not all of it actually, 90% of the liquidity to the downside. The other area we would have to tap is just below 13. Let's see what my second take profit is, because I forget, to be honest. And my second take profit is just below 13, so 12.74. That's why my take profit 2 is 12.74, because that's quite literally the last area where there could be more liquidity. And if there is a much larger pullback, my take profit 3 is based on the daily chart. No, it's not. It's not based on the weekly either. What the hell is this based on? Totally forgot. Okay, 12 hour, I guess. Could have swore that's not. Okay, daily. Sorry. It's based on the daily. So this support and resistance flip at 10:11-ish, 10:50 or so. That's my next area of interest if we truly do not bounce after take profit 2. So I'll be out of this position 60% of the short after take profit 2, just to ensure I take the majority of my profit, just in case, we don't actually go to that 10 level, even though that's the next logical area of support. I just want to take profit because it would have been a great trade after take profit 2. So let's see, did I mention everything else? My stop loss is, again, I was going to 100% manually close if we were to reclaim that diagonal as support. So because of that, I gave myself just a little bit of wiggle room above this high right here. And what's important to me about this high is we created this high and then had a fairly major sell-off right here. Sorry, there's a plane going over me. Hopefully that's not too loud, but so we had a major sell-off here, right? Grinded right back up, popped above this high and retested as support before creating a new high and faking out above our diagonal resistance. So that to me was a pretty important high, which is why my stop loss is just barely placed above it. But again, I would have stopped myself out just above 15.6 or so. But that's really a trade. That's what I was looking for. That diagonal play is super, super important. So definitely rewatch that part of the video, and 100% feel free to ask me questions about that section in particular. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any further questions, comments, or anything like that, please as always, feel free to reach out. Have a nice rest of your day. Thank you.